How do you think a neurosurgeon goes about removing a tumor from your brain? First, they remove the hair, the scalp, and a piece of your skull. Next, they remove the dura mater. It's a stiff connective tissue that helps protect your brain. Now they're looking at your brain and the tumor, but they can't really see it. So the surgeon takes their finger, has a poke around, trying to find the right spot to cut out. For the surgeon, this is second nature to them, but to us, this is a scary thought. The reason for this is even though we have fantastic imaging techniques, such as CT and MRI, that are used before surgery for treatment planning, during surgery, when the skull is removed and the brain is exposed, it deforms, it changes shape. So that means these excellent images that we had before surgery are no longer as useful, and the surgeon is effectively flying solo. So brain tumors are stiffer than the surrounding healthy tissue, and the surgeon takes advantage of this by using a technique called palpation. Now that's just a technical term for taking your finger, having a poke around, finding the stiffer area, and cutting it out. As you might guess, this is not an exact science, and I'd like to improve on this. So my research involves creating stiffness maps of the brain using ultrasound. What's great about ultrasound is it can be used in the operating theater. There's no ionizing radiation like in CT, and there's no big magnet like in MRI causing scalpels to go flying across the room. So to create the stiffness maps, I'm using a special kind of ultrasound called a shear wave. So what is a shear wave? What I'd like you to imagine is a stone being dropped into a still pond. You get a splash, and then ripples come out. What I'm doing is I'm focusing ultrasound to a point, creating a small splash in the brain, and then the ripples that come out are the shear waves. They're brain waves, literally. What's interesting about these shear waves is that they move really slowly. You can see them move in real time on the screen. And the key thing about them is that their speed depends on the stiffness of the material that they're in. So they'll move faster through a stiff material and slower through a softer one. So by watching the shear waves and tracking their velocities and using a whole pile of maths and physics and mechanics, I can work backwards to create a stiffness map. Currently, I'm just working on fake brain tissue, but in the future, I want to work on pig brains, cadavers, and then eventually live brain testing. The end goal is to create stiffness maps of the brain in real time that can be used during surgery to help guide the surgeons to find the stiffer brain tumors and reduce the need for poking around in your brain. Thank you very much for your time.